All right, well, hello. I'm Trigger.
Hello.
This is English Ben, and welcome to SOMA. So, timing for this game actually starts at the end of the first cutscene, so I'm just going to use this to do a brief introduction to the game. This is, if anyone's familiar with Amnesia, this is what came after it. It's from the same developers, Frictional Games.
Basically, Amnesia underwater.
Yeah. It's a sort of existential crisis that talks about what it means to be human.
I think you're bleeding.
The speedrun, however, is more about
my brain can't stop bleeding.
do walls exist?
Here,
Well,
take
I'm
this.
sure we'll find out.
No, that's for later, for the scan.
It's green.
Ashley.
Yeah, during
I
this
need to
run,
tell
there's
you
basically going to be
Simon,
two
please
big
don't make this
tricks,
weird.
No,
and the
it's
rest
not
of
like
the run and tech is basically about like applying it.
Why now?
So
Just
we'll get ready
David
for the run.
Lynch.
To start.
Why is there never enough time?
It's pretty much as soon as you wake up here.
For what?
All right, let's go.
We are off!
So the first thing we do, just have a nice
little-
phone call.
A
Deep
little chat with our doctor. We've got to
Deep
go
lol.
and get a brain scan done.
Yeah.
The brain scan. I remember.
Are you all right?
Yeah, just a bad dream. Are we still on for today?
Yeah, that's why I'm calling. I wanted to remind you to drink the tracer fluid I sent you. It'll help me capture a better image of the damages.
Don't worry.
So the tracer
got it
fluid that he
somewhere.
talks about
Okay,
can be in
great.
one of 3 locations,
I'll see you in a
and
couple
as
hours
the
then.
saying
Okay,
goes, it's
see you
always in
soon.
the last place that you look.
Yeah, it's actually like scripted to be in the last place.
So we've got
So-
3 locations we can look at, and we look at them in the quickest to get to going away from the door, which means that the time it takes to actually pick this up and drink it gives us time to get back to the front door again. And something I noticed recently about playing this, Simon never got dressed.
Taste.
Simon never got dressed.
Sucking on
He just hops onto the subway in his in tighty whities.
Yeah.
And
Like his jeans are spread over the sofa, but he never puts them on.
yeah. I mean, we've all been there, to be fair. You know,
Yeah.
You're late for work, so you just off you pop instantly. Don't even think about getting dressed.
So here we are, half naked on the subway.
Yep.
We're about to get a call from one of our employees who's wondering where the hell we are.
But not interested. See you.
Yeah,
See you later.
it's much quicker just to hang up the call.
Sorry, buddy.
And keep an eye on this piece of wall. This is some great level design when the train starts moving again.
I don't actually know this. I want to keep
A
an eye on it too.
little magic trick.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Oh, just D-loads. That's great. So, do you remember the code for the door?
I think I can remember.
Nice, very nice.
It never changes.
Yep.
Like none of the solutions to puzzles, apart from maybe one, ever change. So this one, 2501.
Which one does change?
Hello?
There's one in
Dr.
the
Munchie?
outbuilding from Omicron. It can be one of like 10.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh, hi. Didn't hear you come in.
Yes!
Simon, right?
Nice.
That is so
got-
stupidly
But I'm
difficult to
working
get,
Yeah.
and I am so happy that I managed to get
And
that
it-
of all things.
And it's like,
That's part of your thesis.
it's one of the least useful ones as well.
It saves no time at all.
Yeah.
We hope to design a gentle.
It
The
just
last time
looks-
I got
it just
that-
looks that the doctor is just not looking at it. That's all it is.
Oh, did you?
The last time I got that to work
Yes.
was
Yes,
over
I did.
half a year ago,
Nice.
and I
we
try
can
it
start
every
whenever
run.
you're ready.
This is it. This is it. This is
This
it.
is the run.
Yeah. Unironically. So yeah, this is where Simon gets his brain scanned, and essentially he's gonna kind of lights are gonna go out, and when they come back on, he's gonna appear in the bottom of the ocean, not really knowing where he is, but we know where we are.
Let me
Yeah,
just
yeah.
get this out of the way.
That's where the game
You are
starts to get
Simon
broken.
Jarrett,
It's
correct?
pretty much instantly. The first thing that you use to break through a window to escape like the first building, you then use to just clip right through a gate, and off we go straight from there.
Yeah, so as soon as the next map starts, it goes straight into
Will this
just
hurt?
It's just a
breaking
scan.
the game every
It'll
way
hurt
we
about as
possibly
much as
can.
getting your picture taken.
Indians thought cameras would steal
Yeah.
their
It's
So-
souls.
amazing. It's amazing how much you can do in this game with literally 2 bits of
Let's hope
speed
they're
tech.
wrong.
Yeah, so I mentioned them before that there was 2 of them. One of them is going to be prop clipping, which is basically just like, I mean, you could probably explain the more technicalities of it,
Yeah,
but essentially it's just like grabbing an object, like we use like fire extinguishers or like bits of metal or something, and if you like line it up at a certain place and like put it inside Simon, you can like push him through walls.
Yeah, so I'll go in depth when I've got a bit of a breather in a couple of maps.
And I think there's a 1.0 only thing that you did there as well, from memory. Yeah.
So the very first version of the game is the most broken, and it's the one we use for speedrunning.
Yeah.
There's a few things like you can stand up a little early there.
There you see there, he just grabs the fence and just clips right through, and then same here, just straight through, just like that. It may look like, you know, easy, and trust me, it is. It's really easy. There are some that are difficult that we'll like get to later on, but yeah, most of these, especially here, are really easy.
A lot of the props have a particular like way of setting up where you can grab it, like where you stand, where you grab it from.
What was that?
To make it work a little more consistently. This is another 1.0 thing. Whoever made this vent didn't stop us from just climbing back out.
Just hold S. That's all you have to do for that skip. Yeah. Whoever made this map.
And now we're out of bounds.
So yeah, as long as you hold S, you can just walk right out, and then when it loads, you can just off you pop right along the top of the wall. And then the second thing that we're going to be using a lot in the run is prop hovering or flying or whatever you call it. And this is essentially the same, like abusing like props that you can grab, but instead you're basically like hop on top, and then when you scroll in and out, you can use it to gain height depending on how far you've scrolled. You can explain more about that.
So
but
that right there
you
was
basically just walk underneath it.
That right there was the IKEA space program, as I call it. Nope.
So that skipped like an entire section where you meet like the first set of monsters, you power on the facility, and everything like that. We just hop right in.
Hey, are you there?
So we're just going to have a chat with Catherine, who's going to be our friend throughout the remainder of the game.
Oh, that's better. Simon, was it?
So what is it exactly with scrolling that affects it? Like how does that work?
When you're holding a prop, if you scroll in and out, it changes how far away from you the prop is held.
Where do you even begin? I mean,
that can affect
place?
like
how did I get here?
if a prop is closer to you, then it makes it easier to pull it inside you for clipping.
Makes sense.
Never been there before? Where did you work?
So basically, whenever you pick up a prop, it can be in one of two different states.
No, I mean, where did you
It
work
can
in
either be
between
in
those two?
inspection mode, which allows us to freely rotate a prop in front of us, or it can be in collision mode, which means it actually collides with
and
you.
It was very unexpected.
And that's what you use for prop clipping.
So we use inspection mode to set clips up and pull props inside our hitbox,
crazy ones.
and then we release and then immediately re-grab them to put it into collision mode, which forces us under proper parts, which is why we then get forced like through walls and things.
Whoa!
What's going on?
I think this place is about to collapse.
I'm going to try an optional clip here. This is just a bit of fun.
Simon, come to Lambda.
How do I get there?
So even during the waiting sections, you can just clip out of bounds and mess about.
So doing this saves no time, but by putting Simon in this particular like little area here, during the next like fade to black sequence, the game just kind of sounds like it's beating him up.
Yeah.
Which, when you play this game enough, you want to beat Simon up.
He's a very unlikable character as you go along.
You just get a few punches in here.
So yeah, it's just like he's just being bullied. The high school guy's asking him for his lunch money and he hasn't given him, so out come the haymakers.
It doesn't matter where you go during that cutscene, you always get put back here.
What the hell? How is this possible?
Here we kind of the game starts to hint that Simon isn't quite what he thinks he is. But
Where did I get a flashlight?
for that exact same reason, Simon struggles to understand what he is. Admittedly, it would be kind of weird if you did wake up like this. But the lore of this game is quite complicated. But essentially, Simon is a robot, and the idea of the game is that you're going to find a thing called the Ark, which you find like right at the end of the game, and you're basically going to copy your consciousness onto it and send it off into space so humanity can live on away from here.
Yeah.
That's essentially the TLDR of the lore. We'll see how Simon reacts to that as we go along. But for now, more prop flying.
More prop flying indeed.
Yep.
So prop flying is kind of an extension of prop clipping. We've put a prop underneath us, we've grabbed it, let go, and then re-grabbed it to put it into collision mode with us. And now it basically acts as a floor. It can't fall away from underneath us because we're holding it in place. We can't fall down because there's something underneath us. So the two just kind of cancel each other. It's a very naive approach to game physics, but it helps.
Yeah. And that movement there when he was on the cliff, it may seem like, you know, he's kind of walking one way and then went the other. I can assure you it was deliberate. It was to hit a like a preload for this next section. So if he didn't hit that, he would have to basically have like a long loading screen. But instead, if you just go to that preload, it's faster to then have like the less loading time.
And also, whenever you preload the next map and you're in one of these transition areas, your position and the position of any props that you've brought along that are inside that get preserved into the next map.
Yep.
So the sheet that I put outside the door is what we're going to want to use.
It's still on the other side of the door, so we need to clip back out of bounds to go and grab it again.
Yeah.
Essentially. So conveniently, there's a nice fire extinguisher just through this door. Fire extinguishers are good.
Fire extinguishers are awful.
Very useful.
They're the worst prop.
But if you didn't have a fire extinguisher here, what would you even use?
There's probably something down near where the shuttles are.
Probably something slow. So.
Yeah, so we get out here. Our prop's been left for us.
And off we pop.
Indeed. So I'm doing something a little different to how this run's been done before. This is just a little marathon safety thing that I came up with. So I'm going to jump over there, jump over that one, and then I'm going to start this cutscene while still following the rest of the map.
It basically looks like we're flying at the speed of sound here, but we're not. We're going the same speed as we always was. But essentially, it's a classic like trick that the Amnesia devs have done before, where they make the map move around you to make it look like you're going fast.
Yeah.
So this is basically like a cutscene that plays, and it's giving you the illusion that you're in a train flying along. But what actually is happening is the map is just coming towards you fast, but you're moving normally. I know Amnesia do that in the elevators as well, like you're stationary but the walls just move around you.
So you can do this without starting that. It's a second or so faster, but there's a clip in at the end of this map which if I fall off, it's basically back to before the airlock. It's a huge time loss.
Minutes.
Whereas for this case, as I've started the cutscene, if I do fall off the map, it will rescue me by teleporting me back in bounds when the cutscene finishes. Hopefully we don't need it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because it also breaks the camera and lets you do backflips, which sounds great, but
it's
it really messes with
difficult to use, yeah, for sure.
There we go.
So, good. Nice. Do you know the reason why the camera breaks with that weird thing?
No idea. I think it's just because you're supposed to be in the train when it crashes. Because we're not in the train, we're not actually in the constrained camera mode that it has.
Makes sense.
But it makes the prop flight in this next map really, really difficult.
Yeah, it looks really cool when you're doing flips, but actually going fast is difficult with it.
Yeah. But this map is basically just, we're going to find a prop and fly to the end. We'd normally go and visit a site called Lambda and pick up Catherine and put her in the tool that we've got to open the doors, but that's kind of slow, and the game doesn't actually require that we go and do that. But,
the game just kind of catches up with us later on.
Yeah. But yeah, this would be a great time for some donations.
I can find Lambda, right?
Sure, thank you very much. I would love to shout out our partners. Western Digital Black are a returning partner of ESA. The Western Digital Black NVMe SSDs provide the speed which we speedrunners need. Western Digital Black is also providing prizes for the marathon, which you can win by donating to the charity in support of the Alzheimer's Foundation. And I'd also like to say a big thank you to Malmö City, who are the host of our event. Thank you for supporting the event and making us feel right at home.
So the next kind of section coming up is one of the few forced encounters you have in this game with the monsters. So in typical, if you've seen Amnesia speedruns, you'll know that even though we try and clip through and speed through things as quickly as possible, there always seems to be enemies that find us regardless. And when we get to the ship the next time, this is going to be one of them. Essentially, even though we're going to clip through quite a few walls and make it look quite trivial, you still have to go to the section at the top where I don't remember exactly what you do. You have to drain the you have to pull the things out.
You have to unplug some tentacles that have attached themselves to the power system to basically destabilize it.
Yeah, so then you can use you can basically you pull them out, and then there's a scripted spawn of an enemy, and they chase you back to the boats, or the boat, whatever it is, the ship, I guess. Is it a ship?
It's an emergency vessel.
Emergency vessel, yeah. Words are difficult. Native speaker, by the way. So, yeah, so that section is entirely scripted
The weird like graphical effects down there are just, I think because I'm running on an AMD graphics card, it doesn't seem to like the low graphic settings that I'm running with.
It's thankfully purely visual aesthetic. It's not actually a problem.
Just some of the levels that are outdoors look kind of like Christmas trees.
Yeah. So here you just walk into that section and that's the load for the next level. So it's convenient that you can just fly there.
And now we get to deal with 2 fire extinguishers.
Yes.
Oh joy.
All right, we're in.
The first one always hates me.
We're in, and oh, we're almost out.
Yeah, sometimes you clip forwards, sometimes you want to be clipping to the side
There
here.
we go.
I'm going to take this fire extinguisher because turning this by hand takes ages. I'm just going to like use a fire extinguisher to call this ladder down. Doesn't save any time. Probably waste a bit of time, but it's fun to just bash a fire extinguisher against it.
Just start flapping it.
There's 2 doors I can take into the next room. This one on the left spawns a monster. The other one does not. So I'm going to take the safe route.
And then you just grab this chair here and whack right through the wall.
Nice.
Nice. Nice and easy. And then, yeah, this is the section with the monster that I mentioned before. I remember when I was playing this casually, I mentioned this before to you, Adam, where I actually found this section first instead of the vessel.
Yeah.
So I got to this section, spawned the monster, and then couldn't quite figure out what I was supposed to do afterwards. So I had a great time with that. Because obviously the intention is that you find the vessel, and I think you even have a conversation with Kath and say about it. Yeah.
She's talking about like how the vessel won't work and you need to go and find some way to power it.
But we never had that conversation in my playthrough, so I was just running away from this blindly until I happened to stumble into it, and I was like, oh, well, that's convenient. So trying to bonk your head here.
Also, Simon has no idea how to use staircases.
Yeah, he just launches off the top of them for some reason, instead of, you know, taking the steps like a normal human being. Yeah, a bit more running on the left here.
Yeah.
To the vessel. Into
and
safety.
now we're safe. I'm going to completely try and break the immersion by rubbing this fire extinguisher against the door, and now it's gone.
I messed up, okay? Can you get us out of here?
So yeah, the game would have you kind of think here that you're supposed to be escaping in this vessel away from the ship, but now we've kind of broken that. You'll see that the ship doesn't actually move at all.
There's a clip you can do out there, but it's really, really picky whether it works or not. But we're just going to kind of take our seat and have our immersion completely broken because we're obviously not moving anywhere.
Can you steer this thing?
Starboard rudder.
Can you steer this thing? Can you accelerate this thing? Can you move it at all? No, the answer is no.
There's a very rare chance when you break the door that it can actually wrap entirely around behind you and push you back through the invisible wall that's there. And as long as this cutscene's going, you're free to just go and explore the ship, even though you can't see it. All the collision is still there.
All the collision, but there's nothing actually. You can't see what you're doing.
Like, I managed to make it almost back to the power room one time.
Impressive.
I couldn't find the last staircase to get up there, though.
Oh.
Station-wide? So we just made a powerful enemy.
No, it's not like that. The AI isn't a persona. It doesn't feel or think like we do. It's more like a cancer.
Yeah, the game has a few sort of forced cutscene sections like this that you can't skip them, unfortunately.
The game has a nice set of tools that you can use for practice, like speed up and slow down and quick save and quick load. But because they're basically like a developer menu, aren't they? Or like a debug menu that you need to like modify your files to actually get access to. You're not allowed to use them in actual runs, which is unfortunate. But in practice, you can just speed up the cutscenes, and it's really convenient. Like quick saving would make this run a lot easier. But,
oh yeah,
for sure.
Unfortunately, this is not Half-Life.
Yes, unfortunately.
I've said before, I would love this, like the physics of this game coupled with the movement of Half-Life 2.
Never get this.
That would be my perfect game.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Just ABH across like the abyss. Also an introduction to best character in the game.
Yep.
This is Kate. Say hi, Kate.
We're going to return the favor by not killing them later.
Good job.
We basically get a choice later on where we have to steal like a chip, and you have to murder one of the robots. And it's convenient that the other robot, the one that didn't save us, it's faster to do anyway.
Yeah.
But we like to pretend that it's, you know, we're nice guys, and the reason we do it is because they saved us just now.
I'm not doing very good at juggling today.
Yeah. So when you grab heavy objects in this game, they will slow your movement down. So the idea is that you would instead like drop and throw it, and then jump along to maintain your momentum. And for some reason, if it touches any of the railings, it will despawn.
Yep.
Because of some weird collision thing that happens.
It's like some things with like L-shaped items that have like a convex section or concave section. I can't remember which one is which.
Me neither.
It doesn't like some interactions with props, and it'll just get rid of them rather than try and calculate it.
You're gonna try for the nice.
I will definitely be trying. But
Alright, okay.
Whether it works or not is another thing.
So definitely without quick save, this is really tricky. But essentially, there's a thing you can do here where when you're supposed to be moving along here, the game is going to try and, instead of like block your movement. Did you get it?
No,
lucky.
Unfortunately.
But essentially, he wanted to get kind of stuck on that rail. And then, from what I understood earlier when he explained it, the game doesn't like block your movement when you're on here. It just uses physics to push you in certain directions to like make sure that you stay in the same place. But if you get stuck on that rail and then you land, as soon as the gates come down and, you know, let you go, all of that will kind of be stacked up.
You'll see a bit of it here when I get pushed off, but nothing like the normal one.
Like that, so it kind of like pushes you off. But yeah, if you were on top of the railing, it would essentially Adam would just take his hand off the keyboard and it would just launch him all around the ocean.
Yeah, you basically just get wafted all over the place.
We need to get a new tool chip.
It's very strange, very strange.
Care to point me in the direction of the
but it does actually waste time because you usually end up on top of these rocks. We want to be as close to the Zeppelin as possible once this dialogue's ended.
The toolbox over there says it has a stun baton. You could use that.
Come on, I don't want to hurt anyone.
It's more of a stun gun, really.
Isn't it?
It's just a robot, Simon.
We're just robots.
It just done something.
Sort of.
Definitely, yeah, stun something.
I'll get us a chip.
Like a 31st century taser.
So the button, that one.
Guess I have no choice.
Like, I'm torn in this one because I don't want to attack Kate because it's Kate, but this robot's name is Adam, so.
Ooh.
Am I right?
But unfortunately, he's getting zapped in the face.
So the reason you would attack this guy in runs is because one, he takes less shots, and two, because he always ends up right next to this pole, so we can wait for him. And
that was a bit slow there.
Yeah. He also, his like compartment opens when you knock him down, whereas the other robot you have to zap him another time to then like open the compartment and steal the chip, which is really slow.
So Adam Goya there takes 3 hits to down, whereas Kate takes 4 plus the additional one.
Don't be mad, okay? We really needed that chip.
And she really runs away from you when you zap her.
Did you do it? Kill a robot like that?
I get attached to them too.
Yeah, it becomes
I'm
like
not
Benny
a
Hill
monster.
tier, doesn't it, basically?
But in this case, it had to be done.
He was.
So we're in another little forced cutscene now, so it'll be a great little time for one donation.
Sincere.
There's one.
Okay, thank you very much, Trigger. We have a $15 donation from her group who says, thanks for this great opportunity to help. Keep up the good work. Greetings go out to Azure Wolf. And we also have a $10 donation from DJ Sovel who says, first time donating to ESA, and what better run to donate to than Trigger's awesome SOMA run. Good luck, bro.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you very much.
Just keep suppressing it. Like my brain doesn't want me to think about it.
So this travel section is like kind of technically an auto-scroller, but it's one of those ones where you can essentially like leave without it, as we're gonna go and take the door and fly off. And there's a couple of things that we can do in the meantime while the what is this called, the rover or whatever they call it?
Zeppelin.
Zeppelin, yeah. So while the Zeppelin is coming to us at the other base, we can do a couple of things to set up like an easier access to the building later on. So it's going to be a bit of flying here, and then after a certain point, there's going to be like a loading section, and the door is just going to disappear, and we're just going to be launched down onto the ground. And then Simon's going to be talking to Kath the whole time, but we don't hear Kath because she's miles away because we've run off without her. So it sounds like Simon is just kind of like, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Simon just kind of talks to himself, which is a shame because this section has one of my favorite lines of dialogue from Kath, and we never get to hear it.
Which line is that?
It's like, I have no ears, no mouth. Like, I'm still saying things, and she responds with, "You sure are."
Yeah. The classic cool story Bob, basically, that's what it is. So yeah, as you can hear, Simon's just kind of like talking to himself now.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is just running to the next section. This next section is great because it's one of the longest maps when you play casually, but it's done in about like 15-20 seconds.
A casual playthrough is like 30 minutes for the first 2 Theta maps each. In glitchless, the glitchless category for this game, it's like 6 to 8 minutes, I think, for each one. The 2 of them combined in any percent are 1 minute.
But then how can I feel like Simon?
Yeah, here's Simon's side of the line.
I mean, technically, I don't have any ears, no mouth. Christ, it's a weird thing to think about. I mean, I'm making sounds. I'm still saying things.
You sure are.
Sure are. Yeah, so we're still waiting for Kath to come along with us because we still need the Omni tool back. So one thing we can do is get this door open, and then when it's going to close, we can put this little panel that we've taken off and basically block the door with it so we can get back into it later on, even though the door's closed.
Yeah, so for now it's just a little bit of kind of waiting around for it. So
Yeah,
I was digging around in the map script to see like why a particular thing in this map happens, and I stumbled upon the name of the function that starts this sequence, and why frictional? They called it Open Theta-me, because this station is called Theta.
Nice.
I just saw that and thought, oh, no, why?
Yeah, it's a haha from me.
And so I wait for that to just stop like vibrating when then I know that the door is fully closed or fully open.
Yeah. So you can do whatever you want here as long as you're back by that time. I forget what she says.
As long as you're around the back by the time she says "see you soon."
That's it. Yeah, like the ending line.
Which is fine as long as I can get here before it blocks me off on these pallets. It's great.
Also, these boxes, they're really strict on their hitboxes, so you can get blocked really easily.
See you soon.
So because you were there before the line, you don't lose any time, so it's good. Optimal.
Yeah,
optimal gaming.
You cannot do the map any faster than that.
Yeah.
Also, there is a robot over here that you can interact with, but if she speaks any lines, it stops Catherine's dialogue, and Catherine needs to finish her dialogue before she'll say, "see you soon." So if you go too close to that robot, if you interact with it, it soft locks the game.
Also, what we've done here by setting this up, it's going to run out and then back in again. And that's also going to potentially trigger a door to be on the other side of this. So door or no door?
I think there will be a door.
I didn't know there will be a door as well, because there usually is. But it's actually slightly convenient if there is a door here.
It's inconvenient if there's a door.
Yes, but you have to run around it. Yeah.
There is a door.
So yeah, so as you can see, there's just a door in the middle of the map, essentially.
Hello? Anyone there?
So this is the main entrance here, and it's just a simple flight into a regrab.
I don't like that grab.
That's better. And then you clip out, hop across, and bam, that's the first one done. That's like 20 seconds. Once you get through,
getting up on that,
then you just wait a second for the next map to load.
Yeah, so this map's all about like restoring power and going down the elevator, like getting the security clearance, but gravity's much faster.
Yep. So hop down, and you I don't even know if you take any fall damage at all because of the way the map is set up.
You're supposed to exit the elevator, like it stops like 1 floor down, and you have to like grab a ladder through a hole in the bottom.
So here's the next like scripted encounter.
Run over my head.
Oh well, that's slightly unfortunate.
Yeah, so you don't take fall damage in that map because you're supposed to take a fall in that area.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Otherwise, a fall like that, we'd be seriously limping otherwise.
Yeah. So this is like a hallucination because we got caught by, I forget the guy's name.
That's Terry Akers.
That's the one, yeah. And because you're, at this point, like in the quote-unquote real world, where we just got grabbed, we're basically in the kind of, the WoW, or whatever you call it. And it causes you to hallucinate. So we'll go back to, right back at the start.
Yeah, so the WoW was basically an artificial intelligence that was created to govern the people who work down here on the station of Pathos 2.
It's okay.
It was tasked very simply with preserving human life. And since the comet hit the surface of the Earth, its idea of what life is has kind of been twisted a bit. It's basically started taking brain scans from people, slapping them into robots, slapping into like animals and things. And as far as it's concerned, that person's personality is still alive, so it doesn't know the difference. Which is why we get all these weird like amalgamations.
So now we're going to break free of here and immediately go right back out of bounds again. With the one trick in the game that I'm decently consistent at.
Yeah, you picked this up really quickly.
Yeah, for some reason.
This is one of the ones
everything
that
else.
most people who start trying to learn this game really struggle with this one. Because you have to have quite good reflexes to get out of bounds and not fall off the map.
You probably couldn't see it from the angle, but the flick of the mouse there, it's very quick. But yeah, I'm awful at all the easy stuff, but that I can do quite well for some reason.
So this skips right across the top of one of the maps that people really hate from the casual playthrough, because you have to sneak past 3 enemies called proxies, which are hypersensitive to sound.
Yeah. It's basically a labyrinth of crawling through stuff. It's really claustrophobic.
And all of the doors down here are so loud.
Yep.
Like, everything is loud. There's so many props scattered on the floor that you can kick, and that'll attract the proxies.
Let's clip back in here and then fly all the way across here.
Yeah, a wet floor sign, even though the water hasn't actually loaded because we didn't hit the trigger to load that.
Yeah, usually there's about like 10 feet of water here that you'd have to deal with. And here's another slightly forced encounter.
Which a lot of people don't even see.
Yes, because it depends on where you're facing.
But there is a monster down there, and he will chase us.
But if you just carry on running straight, you'll never see it, because you immediately get hit by water. Off your pop.
So next map is just finding a way into Omicron. Normally we'd have to release the quarantine that's been placed on the building, but we can just clip straight through the door.
Yeah.
But on the run over is the perfect time for if there's any more donations.
Certainly. We have a $15 donation from Calfsneak, who says, "Gotta go fast." And we also have a $5 donation from Azerwolf, who says, "Hey all, nice run so far. Hype for the Stardew Valley run. Greetings to her group. Best streaming mate ever. Keep up your work for the research."
For the research.
So going for good times, there was a sheet metal piece down there that I would normally use, but it's very, very inconsistent whether it actually lets you in or not. And if I was to drop it down into the abyss, that's a minute and a half down the drain.
Yeah. So instead, we're going to take a robot, which is much easier to clip with, but it's much heavier, so we'll have to kind of juggle it as we go down this like rickety, poorly built section.
It's definitely not safe.
Yeah, it's definitely not safe. And because you're not supposed to be down there and the game kind of tries to push you away, Simon kind of goes like, "What am I doing down here? Like, I should go back the whole time," while you just like bunny hop down there. Doesn't even care.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sheet metal is like horrendous. So yeah, he's like, "Where am I going? I shouldn't be doing this," as he keeps doing it. Yeah, the sheet metal is horrendous. It's like curled and bent in a really weird way, so you have to have like a really specific reference. Whereas the robot's much easier. You can just line your face up with it, and if all goes well,
there we go.
Play. Nice. So the juggling it down there is harder, but the clip is so much easier.
So now coming into Omicron, which is personally my favorite map if it goes well, and my least favorite map if it doesn't.
It's it's a lot of tricks like back to back. So it's kind of a few minutes of constant clipping in and out, flying around, and dealing with enemies to basically collect a load of items that we're going to need to head into the deeper abyss in the climber. We need to basically upgrade our suit, or well, you don't really upgrade the suit. You just get a new one and put it back together again.
Yeah.
Let's find that suit.
Let's find that suit. So starting off, there's a nice convenient box here. These are really easy to clip with. You just kind of throw a face at it again. Clip through. There's a nice little puzzle here to get some goggles that you'll need. Nice and easy. Get the box. Sometimes you can play like Ronaldo and kick it there, but sometimes it's not always necessary. And then grab the first box that you grabbed the whole time. Again, be careful not to touch the railings because they despawn. And then hover up. a lot of these sections would be, you know, like accessing via like routing power to them, but we can just clip through, thankfully. So this
is a little skip that I found in the past few months. It just skips going through this airlock sequence, which takes about 15 seconds. The floor that you jump across out of bounds there is so ridiculously thin.
It's a matter of pixels. I would say that's probably one of the harder jumps in the game, and it looks so seamless. So then there you just hop on top of a chair, and you can actually grab. For some reason they left like the, you know, maybe like a few centimeters of the glass open, and it's just enough to hop on a chair and grab it through if you're really precise. And then we go up again.
Doing all the floors in order.
Yep. Through.
And now we come to the most pathetic enemy in the game.
Yep. And the most pathetic wall in the game as well.
Yeah.
So this is supposed to be like, you know, a robot girl that gets really angry at you, but they take so long that you can just grab it and run. And if you just crouch into this wall, you just go right through it like it doesn't even exist.
Quick.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can stand there against that wall for a while.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think I've died there before. So, yeah, that's a really tricky jump as well. And then you boost up here.
So is this one.
Yep.
I hate this one more.
So again, circle jumping.
I got worried about that when I went too wide.
Yeah, flicking the mouse and then click back in here. And talk to Kath. Hi, Kath. We just did a bunch of stuff really quick.
Is this Omicron?
So
and now it's a nice chill bit.
Everything is so.
So one issue with this level is we've actually done everything in the wrong order. We were supposed to come here first, find the suit and try and activate it, and then find out that it doesn't work. And then we get tasked with going to go grab the 3 pieces that we already have. Because we already have those pieces, and we haven't activated a door that's to my left, if I don't do the next sort of set of things in the right order, we can soft lock the game. So I need to make sure I've completely activated the body and started that sequence before I interact with the door.
Transfer your mind into a new body.
What?
Look, we already know it.
Or you just kind of stand there and you can't do anything with the suit anymore.
It's a huge fucking deal. There's got to be
Whoa,
Simon,
yeah, be careful, dude. I mean, I know it's late at night, but come on.
Then think of something else.
Simon, please.
So this is quite a pivotal point in lore as well. As we were talking about before, as you play this game casually, you learn to kind of dislike Simon more and more.
Thank you, Simon.
And this is a big point of it. So essentially, as I was saying before, when you get the arc, and we're going to copy our consciousness over into it, obviously that possesses like a whole lot of questions within itself of like morality, because essentially the person that you are, if you copy your consciousness, are you still that same person? Because essentially you're a clone of yourself now. And Simon doesn't quite understand that. Simon thinks that it's a cut and paste, and that the Simon that he is going to be, you know, put into this new suit instead of copied, and you know, all will be good. But that's not how it works.
No.
You know, if you think about it, because he's already a copy, the Simon that he thinks he is long dead.
Yeah.
But he doesn't understand that.
Simon was one of the first brain scans that was ever done, and he's what's referred to as a flat or legacy scan, and he isn't actually capable of learning or augmenting his state like the newer, more dynamic scans are.
I can't believe we're doing this.
So as many times as Kath tells him how it works, he won't understand it. And when you're kind of learning about the lore of this game, it's very frustrating to see Simon just have absolutely no clue what's going on.
You'd really do it.
There is a reason I'm taking this boot with me.
And there is a reason why he's playing that tape recorder, which is completely optional.
Yeah.
It's essentially, yeah, nice. Just that was that reason. And yeah, the other reason is to, with the audio recorder, you're basically playing audio on top of Kath's dialogue, and that will skip her conversation because the audio track is much shorter.
Yeah, so
we'll go back and do that later.
Before we left the room, Catherine starts a conversation that lasts like 1 or 2 minutes, and she'll start another one once we've transferred into this body. And both of them we go out and get the voice recorder because it just instantly cancels it.
So now he has been essentially copy and pasted into a new body in his mind.
Copy completed.
And you'll see here in a second. As you can hear,
old Simon is
that's
like
the old
sat there.
Simon, yeah, still alive and conscious.
What was that?
I got stuck in the door there.
Yeah.
Why was it
Simon
still
doesn't seem to understand that
Catherine,
he's essentially a
why
clone
was he
now.
still
A
talking?
clone of a clone. Probably even more.
do you
Clone
mean?
of a clone of a clone of a clone
Yeah.
at this point. It's quite convoluted, but
So
Hope I'm
in
doing a
terms of
decent
looking
job
looking back
explaining.
through the game, basically everything up to this point has been what are the memories of the current Simon that we're playing.
it was all a dream.
Yeah.
The kind of thing that if you write in your English GCSE, instant F. Not like that.
Don't waste time, Simon. Activate
So
the
I'm
power
also
suit
sort of trying these door dives, which is just jumping and crouching and sliding under doors. It just saves a little bit of time because you don't get the slowdown from crouching.
And this was also a setup from before. This is basically just doing the same as what we did all the way back in Upsilon, just waiting for the next section to load.
Yeah,
We
so,
don't have to.
so this map preloads, so
Yeah.
we're going to wait in a spot we know like
puts
by
us
standing
outside. Yeah.
here, puts us outbound
There you
here.
go. So then you don't have to, wait for the door to open and everything.
Yeah, it saves about 13 seconds.
Yep.
But that little ledge that I ended on, you can really like.
Are we done here?
Yeah.
Activate the climber, please.
And this climber is the reason why this game is not nearly as popular as the other fictional games.
No. So this is entering into basically a 7-minute cutscene that I have to push a button halfway through.
Yeah, so it's not even like a 7-minute cutscene where you're like, nice, I have 7 minutes to go and do stuff. Because you have to actually do things halfway in between.
Yeah.
It's like the Mario Sunshine intro, there's gameplay in between,
I
which
woke up in the
is
right
terrible.
body.
Like,
It's a redundant
I
body.
want this to be skippable
Never
so much,
experienced my journey.
and
Soldier.
I think it won't be skipped
You
so much that
understand.
I am actually willing to put down a bounty of $250 for anyone that can find some way of skipping this.
There you go. Anyone in the venue or anyone at home, 250 big ones if you find a way to skip this climbing sequence.
Please help us.
Please help us. We're begging you.
But yeah, for the next like 7 minutes, it's great for just rattling off as many donations as possible.
Go on, Froob, let's hear your lovely voice.
Thank you very much, Ben. We have a $15 donation from The Nexus, who says, loving the run. Who cares about physics when you have a wet floor sign and a dream? Good luck with the rest of your existential crisis.
Thank you, Jamie.
And I'd like to take the opportunity now to remind folks that in a couple of hours we are going to have the Stardew Valley run, and we have 2 bid wars currently going on during it. The first one is for simply whether cat or dog, whether you're a cat person or a dog person.
Froob, are you a cat or a dog person?
I'm a dog person, I'm afraid.
Good
although
lad, good lad. Adam?
I do like cats as well.
I've never really been much of an animal person, but if I had to choose, I would probably get a cat.
Well, alright, it's been fun. Have fun. Bye.
Cat is currently in the lead with $250 compared to dog's only $35. So if you want dog to win out, you're going to have to bet big for that one.
I'm going to find the climber skip, you're going to pay me, and I'm just going to whack it into that dog one. Just to spite you.
Go for it.
Alright, yeah, just do it now. PC right here, let's go. Boot up the
Yeah,
game.
And we
I've got SOMA if you want it on the USB stick if you want to have a look.
Effort. Go on, Froob, keep going.
Yep, we also have a bid war to name Jazzy's character, which currently winning is Zamil with $60. So you could quite easily change the name of an entire character if you just donate to a really good cause in the Alzheimer's Foundation. We are raising money, as I said, for the Alzheimer's Foundation. The Alzheimer's Foundation supports all types of research on Alzheimer's disease and other dementia diseases. So thank you all very, very much for the support, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Froob, for being with me and Adam on this wonderful journey. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up.
What's the point of going on?
But yeah, so pretty soon, essentially the climber's going to shut down because the guy from the Abyss, that I also don't remember his name,
Johan Ross.
that's the one, Johan, he comes up and like attacks you or something. I don't remember exactly how it works. Like knocks you unconscious or some shit.
He just comes down and says like, "Who did it?"
Yeah. It's some very weird accent. It's very strange. So you have to climb up to the top of the climber, which is like mega scary. So scary it made my voice crack. Going backwards through puberty apparently. But yeah, you have to stand right on the top of it and power it back on.
Yeah, I've not seen anyone fall off, but I'm sure someone has.
It's probably happened, yeah.
No friends. No family.
And then on this next section, Adam has actually been nice enough to figure out a strat to basically avoid what would usually be a really long hover, that would just be another, as soon as we're done with this, it would be another 3 minutes or so of just flying in a straight line, which is really boring. So instead he's found a slightly slower but much more interesting way to do the next map, which is cool.
What happened?
So thank you, Adam. It's very kind of you.
welcome.
All for you, ESA viewers.
Why don't we stop moving?
It's a strat that I'd also recommend to anyone picking up the game because it's perfectly consistent.
Pretty hard, really testing the limits of myself.
Don't worry.
And so we pushed the button, and now we're back into like another 3 minutes of cutscene.
Does time
Please help us skip this.
Please.
Time feels omitted more than anything.
What's the difference?
I don't feel like
So Adam, in the meantime, what other runs are you looking forward to?
and I don't have the opportunity to
I am
reflect
certainly
on the
looking
time I'm
forward
missing.
to your
It's simply
GTA
missing.
Vice City race against
Right answer.
KZ Fru.
Right answer. Correct.
Certainly looking forward to some friends that I've got behind me. Draco down with Sonic Adventure 2 and other games. Nimputs doing Sonic
My
R.
experience is more like an ever-changing moment that never really seems to find closure.
Sounds kind of like a movie being edited live.
I've got some
I
written down on my
suppose so.
calendar,
I
actually.
guess it sounds exciting, but it really keeps me activated to
Let's
the
have a
point of
look.
exhaustion.
Let's have a gander.
It's rough.
Could be
Do
worse.
we have any more
Could be a
donations?
time traveler stuck in a body made from
We don't have at the moment, but could you tell me what kind of monitor you're looking at there? Like, who made it?
I believe this
ViewSonic.
is indeed.
ViewSonic Elite.
ViewSonic. Well, what a coincidence. Did you know that ViewSonic Elite are a long-term partner to ESA, and they're providing all the gaming monitors for the event, including the ones that are currently being used for all of the runs. With over 30 plus years of experience working on CRTs to 1 millisecond LCD monitors, ViewSonic Elite is using that knowledge to take their gaming products in a new direction.
See, Johan's even excited that ViewSonic has
Yeah.
set up with all these monitors. Thank you, ViewSonic.
He'll make preparations. He'll clear a space on his desk to put his new...
Gonna play SOMA.
Yeah.
Teach him to play the game, get a world record. Get sub 1. So I actually figured out on this next map, for some reason, if you scan the Omni tool twice in quick succession, your Omni tool gets stuck in your hand, and you have to reload the map. So when I was playing this game casually, I just figured out a way to just be walking around like this every time, like millennials on their phones. Am I right, Adam? Those flipping kids.
Absolutely.
Those bloody kids glued to their screens.
Very strange. I thought it was going to kill you for sure. Glad it didn't.
Yeah, me too.
So the bottom of this map is entirely surrounded by some like invisible areas that if I spend more than 5 seconds stood inside them, Johan Ross, who you saw come down on the climber there, will come and collect us and put us back in bounds. The reason I don't want to do the prop hover for this map is it's only slightly faster, but if you fall off into an area where he'll collect you, that can be 3 minutes just gone.
It teleports you all the way back here, basically, all the way back to the start.
You could still be down here somewhere.
But it puts you sort of out down on the ground to my left.
So
I'm
this
gonna
is
scan this one time.
Yeah, one time. Yeah, this is much safer for sure.
But there happens to be one of those boxes which is just thin enough that we can pass through it in about 4.5 seconds. And that lets us just freely go out of bounds.
Run out of bounds, yeah.
I'm going to take this with me to the end of the map because for some reason they didn't put any props at the end of the map, so we've kind of just got to bring our lunchbox with us.
Yeah.
So it's going to hop over here and follow this bit of geometry out of bounds.
Yeah, this is where the, usually would get, you can hear like the thunder coming in and it's like, oh, be careful, he's ready to come and get you.
So these white dots appear to show that you're like starting to go off the the path that you're supposed to be on, and then as they disappear here, I'm in the clear. Like I can just keep running until I fall eventually off the end of the map if I wanted to. Not going to do that today.
Yeah, it's not smart. Don't do that.
But I think running to the end takes a good like 10 minutes anyway. Like they made this map like far too big.
Yeah. Also, this part, at least for me, casually, is like probably one of the most terrifying parts as well. When you're like deep in the abyss, it kind of preys on everyone's fears of like the deep unknown of the ocean. And you go into a section where you have to. There's lights scattered all about, and you have to follow the path. And if you don't, there's like a big piranha fish that's like 10 times the size of you. That just comes and destroys you. It's terrifying. And then later on, the lights don't even help, and it comes and chases you regardless. So,
yeah.
Awful. Ugh. glad you don't have to deal with that in speedruns.
So I'm not sure if it comes across on stream, but I'm heading towards a visual cue that I've got, which is the next station that we want to head to.
Yeah.
Like, it's always loaded on the map, and with the brightness settings turned all the way up, you can see it like from anywhere.
Yeah. We do apologize if this is dark on stream. It's just, you know, the way it is.
This is a very dark game.
Yeah. We have the gamma maxed out in game, and we also have you know, it's set up on the stream to look a bit better. But even still, like I can see on the projector, it's kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
But it won't be like that for too long, thankfully. This is like where it's the worst. So hopefully it's been fine the rest of the time.
So I took a particularly wide path around this level because there are a couple of storm triggers, which are basically giant boxes that cover the normal path that you would take, which start up a storm which
slows you down.
It increases in intensity. And with each step, it slows you down by 20% of your movement speed. So by the end of the map, you're moving about 60% slower. But instead, I'm going to take a little route over here, drop down inbounds in between all of the spider caves.
Yeah.
So if anyone's squeamish of spiders, look away for the next like 5 seconds.
Because these are big boys. Going through that cave would be nightmare fuel.
And just like that, we're back inbounds again.
You can open your eyes now.
And we're just going to run up the hill to Tau Station.
So those are the lights I was referring to there. This is usually where the big fish would come after you. But I don't even know when the trigger is for the fish. Like obviously we're way past it at this point. But I don't know what actually triggered it to spawn.
The anglerfish is spawned by like coming around the last corner in the tunnels.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we completely skipped it, so we can go wherever. It doesn't really matter.
So what I hit there is the last, like the fourth storm trigger. So I have a 20% movement speed decrease. Normally hitting the last one of the 4 will reset you back to max speed, like everything calms down again. But because we haven't hit the other 3, it's basically, it thinks I've just started the map.
Also, for some reason, this surface allows you to just put the prop against it and it just kind of sticks to it. It doesn't float away.
Yeah. So if you're still wondering why I brought this prop along, all will become clear in just a second. I want to use this to get out of bounds. I took a special route through the map just then to make sure that I preload the next section. So by taking this prop up to the top and getting out of bounds, if I can actually jump. There we go. And jump there. I want to put that like that, have it float.
So that's perfectly for you.
And I want to just flip through and go stand out of bounds. And that means that when the next map loads, I will spawn here rather than back in the airlock, which is like the default spot. And I'm stood a little bit off to the right because it means I can drop down and immediately get a safety save here. Because this map is tricky.
Very tricky. This coming up is a really tricky jump, especially.
Happier to be inside.
Yeah, this is one of the three sections of the game which are hardest for new runners to do.
He nails it, of course.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Still got one more thing to do in this map, though.
Yep.
One of the more recent discoveries in this game was a quicker way of getting into the airlock. Excuse me?
So we're going to clip through, get into like the bed here.
Yeah.
Turn off the life support for the last human to be alive, who isn't actually there, so we just actually turn off the life support.
It's a talking empty chair, so we kill it.
Because we don't want
that. Scary.
And this is the arc that we're currently carrying. This is the thing that we came for the whole time. Like, this is the pinnacle of it. And this coming up is basically the called the leap of faith.
We're unfortunately doing this without a safety save.
Oh dear.
Because I forgot to go and grab it. So hopefully this works. This is one of the most precise things. And it didn't work.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. So basically, the reason you call it the leap of faith is because even though there's a reference, it's essentially just lining up and just walking forward and hope that you land through. Because otherwise, for some reason, the door that you go through, if you kind of clip through and then open it, it opens like as any normal door would. Like it takes like 2 seconds. But then if you were on the right side of it, as though you never clipped through, like if you're doing it intentionally, you go to open the door, and then there's like a sequence of events where like a lot of things break, like a valve starts going off, pipes start breaking, and then the door slowly opens. So it's a lot faster to do a leap of faith, but it's easier with a safety save.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So you don't have to do this actually.
The fall damage there is inconsequential. Also, I can never forget, whenever I come through there and I clip onto that that bed there, a certain person who in their casual playthrough thought that that was a lift.
I did indeed. Yes, that is a...
So,
I'll take the L on that one.
In Ben's casual playthrough, he sat on the bed and shouted at Sarah to say, like, come on, activate the lift.
I thought it was like, I don't know.
Like a freight elevator, which is like right next to it.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm going to get the safety save this time.
That's the only reason he brought me on commentary, just to rinse me for that.
It took you like 30 seconds, and then you read chat and you went, that's a bed? Oh!
Alright, Adam. Focus on the run, dude. Stop bullying me.
Ah,
yeah, look at
I've
you.
got the safety save now.
Look at you. Yeah.
If I fail it one more time, I'm just going to go with the...
Just
open the door.
Showcase the awful door.
Like this is ridiculously precise. It's basically where two angled walls meet, and you want to force yourself to land like right at the spot where they meet together.
There's two different lineups for it, and neither of them are any good.
Yeah, so I've been using my one. Thursday, who's another runner of this game, came up with his own one, which I'm actually going to switch to here, which is lining up that instead and popping straight in.
There we go. Good job.
Thank you, Thursday. Yours worked. This terminal is one of the ones in the game that you can scan multiple times, and for some reason doing this breaks the level like 7 seconds early. I'd normally have to wait an extra 7 seconds to be able to pull those pipes, but by scanning a second time, I don't.
Yeah, so sometimes overscanning can completely break your game, sometimes it can actually save time. Just SOMA things.
Just SOMA things.
Just SOMA things.
And now we get to what is actually, in terms of the lore, one of the most important games in the map that we just entirely skip.
Yeah. We also have the best prop. This is the easiest prop to use by a mile because of how big it is. It's so large that you can also use it as a ramp to ramp yourself backwards and forwards out of bounds. And then just hop to the end. So yeah, essentially, as Trigger mentioned, you're going to go past base alpha, which is where you see like the heart of the artificial intelligence, the WoW. And you get to make a choice whether you can like kill it or save it, I guess.
And what choice did you make in your playthrough? Did you kill it?
I lost my arm, whichever one that was.
Yeah, that was killing it.
Yeah, so I killed it. I guess that's a good one, technically.
Spoiler alert, it actually doesn't make a difference to the end
yeah,
of the game.
it turns out that it doesn't matter. The only difference is that you lose your arm if you kill it.
Yeah.
That's it. So, if
Which
you're doing this after watching a speedrun and you're now doing your casual playthrough for some reason, then, yeah, don't bother. It's not worth it.
I think it actually makes you slightly slower climbing one of the ladders in Phi as well, because you've got like a stump arm.
Well, there you go. Good to know. So yeah, that's the base there, and we basically just keep walking past it straight all the way to Phi, is it called?
Phi is the last station, yeah.
I always struggle to remember the names and which ones are
I always get Upsilon and Omicron mixed up.
Yeah.
Now would be a brilliant time for donations if you have any.
I was just about to ask. We have a $15 donation from Miro Jr., who says, dogs are much better than cats.
Agreed.
And then we have a $10 donation from Luna Minar, who just purrs. Thank you both very much for the donations.
So yeah, Phi, considering it's at the end, is actually one of the probably like top 3 worst bases in terms of the speedrun. Because the prop that you use to clip out of bounds is a book, and the book is absolutely tiny. Like, you can barely fit your own 2 feet on it. So you have to not only do that, but also fly with your 2 feet on top. And then you also have to clip on top of some tentacles, and then clip that and the book out of bounds, and then fly with it out of bounds.
Yeah, it's a lot to do,
awkward.
and the game can randomly decide to just throw you off the side of the map.
And also, if you try and like be safe with the book and put it down and re-grab it and stuff like that, it just gets stuck to the ground. So you basically just have to do it all in one.
Yeah,
there's no real
a lot of the time, if you drop props on top of some ceilings that are like the invisible side of surfaces, it will just drop straight through. Like Simon won't, but props quite often will. Yeah, it doesn't matter what I do in this airlock, I can go and climb up here if I wanted to, because we haven't hit a preload for this map, so it'll set us back to
no point clipping out of bounds.
Their default position.
One of the rare ones where there's no point clipping out of bounds. So hopefully the book decides to be nice. Casually speaking, this base is actually pretty interesting because, you know, there's a lot of loose ends that are tied up. You find out what happened to Kath. You find her body here, like her original one. So there's quite a lot of good, you know, good scoops in terms of the lore here. But we're just gonna clip out and hopefully get the book out. Essentially, you just bring it to the corner and just scroll and hope that it clips out eventually. Nice. Yeah. And hop back on. Seems good.
Yeah. Just get through this nice V shape.
Yep. And this is the final section of the game.
So we plug Kath in for the last time.
I'll never get used to that.
Wait for her to say to take a seat.
Not after this is over.
Right. Have a seat.
So the Ark has arrived, but because we just skipped to this part of the level, we never actually loaded it ready. But somehow it just magically appears in this room anyway.
So the game just catches up.
Yeah. Like the Ark never actually got put in the bullet that we're firing into space, so technically we're just firing an empty shell.
Easy to use, so it shouldn't be a problem.
We came all this way and then we just launched nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got one last little puzzle just to sort of put this in.
Is it really a puzzle?
Some people take a while to solve this. They don't realize like how to interact with it.
I mean, I guess it's kind of ambiguous, but like if you've been paying attention,
yeah.
And it's not like there's like several solutions or anything. You know.
Also, it is possible to jump off this staircase and land inside the barrel. You can't get out again.
We also need to make sure it launches
but you can like run up and down the barrel of the gun.
Just push the button and we're off.
Here we go. No turning back.
So yeah, now we get our final scan done, ready for upload into the Ark, ready to sort of live among the stars.
Ready to be copied, not cut and pasted.
Yes.
Yes. But Simon will not understand that. And him and Kath will have a rather heated debate about it.
What's the matter with the upload?
Just give it a second.
Thought you guys would
Just give it a second. Everyone's using the hotel Wi-Fi, so taking a while to upload our brains. But of course, in typical cliched fashion, it just shoots to the end with like 2 seconds left.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 8, 7, 6.
You gotta be kidding me!
5, 4, 3.
All hope is lost, and then wow.
Yeah, we made it!
Simon. And then the Ark is launched. Simon is still here.
Yep.
I'm still here.
We said that.
I'm still here. Catherine? Catherine?
Catherine is also still here.
What the hell happened? What went wrong?
Nothing. They're out there, among the stars. We're here.
No. We were getting on the Ark. I saw it. It finished loading just
I do like the attention to detail in this scene. You can actually see like how far away the that red line actually grows as it gets further away from Earth.
That's cool.
You won't listen. You know why we're here. You were copied onto the Ark. You just didn't carry over. You lost the coin toss. We both did. Just like Simon and Omicron. Just like the man who died in Toronto 100 years ago.
No. This is bullshit. We came all this way. We launched the Ark.
I know it sucks, but our copies are up there. Catherine and
Simon.
Simon are both
He saved the
safe
world,
on the Ark.
but he
We
still
have
doesn't
for
know
them.
why or
Are you
how.
crazy? We're gonna die down here with those fuckers living at large on a spaceship. They're not us. They're not us.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Simon.
But it does paint an interesting question. Like, if humanity is able to live on as artificial intelligence in a virtual world, does it really matter? Does it count anymore?
Good question.
It's copies of people. The people that invested their time in making it work never get to reap any benefit from it.
Yeah.
You said we're getting on the
Better than nothing, though, right?
Yeah.
You idiot! I didn't lie.
So this is now. Cass gets so angry that she basically spontaneously combusts.
Yep.
And now current Simon here basically gets left to rot
Please don't leave
because
me
of his
alone.
actions.
Yeah.
Catherine?
And because Catherine was in the Omni-tool now doesn't
Catherine?
work, which means he can't even leave this room if he
Yeah,
wanted to.
so he's just left with those, you know, those effers down there.
Yeah. And so the credits roll, but this isn't quite the end. Frictional were nice to us and gave us one extra map, which is the other side of the coin toss. It's Simon in the Ark getting
Paradise,
his,
basically.
Is this?
and
Did it
strangely
work?
illuminated. Thank you, AMD Graphics.
Yes, this is again not intentional.
Yeah,
But
it
it's,
is not supposed to look like this at all.
Yes, but it's also strictly just, you know, purely visual. So this is just bee hopping to the end of paradise.
Take a little swim.
Yeah,
Like, the hopping doesn't actually do anything. It's just habit, so I don't get stuck on rocks.
makes sense. And then once we get to find Kath and he says, you know, we made it, or whatever the line is, that's time.
Yeah.
Should be a 104. Decent time. Decent time.
Indeed. That was actually a pretty solid run up until falling off from tower.
Yeah, it was.
Catherine?
And then
Catherine.
That is
Can't
time.
It's
believe
time.
We actually made
jump.
it.
Yeah, we did.
So relieved.
So yeah, I'd just like to give a thank you to the HPL speedrunning community. If anyone's interested in this game or any of the other frictional games like Amnesia or Penumbra, we have a Discord. You can find it from the speedrun.com pages of any of the games. Thank you to everyone in the community who's helped root this over the past 3 years. Thank you to everyone that stopped by to watch, and for ESA for hosting an amazing marathon.
And thank you, Trigger, for doing a wonderful run.
Thank
Good
you.
job.